Hey you guys, welcome back to Yogalates with SJ. I'm SJ and today we have a 30-minute strength workout using only your body weight. So just starting here in standing, you're going to sweep the arms up and then bring the hands down into prayer as you squat down. Inhale, high prayer, and sweeping the arms all the way around, dropping down into your squat, sitting down into those heels. We're just keeping this going. So it's just a squat down, you're sitting back into the heels as you come into that squat, hands come to prayer in front of the heart center, and keeping length into the spine as you bring the arms all the way back up, drawing up from the pelvic floor, all the way up to the top of the head, keeping that core nicely engaged here and making sure the knees are not going forward of those toes. So we're sitting back into the heels, maybe lifting the toes up slightly. Awesome. Staying here in that squat, and you're just bringing your weight to the left foot and bringing the right foot out and then pressing up to standing, lengthening up. So we are just working through that one side and you're just bending into that supporting leg, so into that knee on that left side, bringing the right foot out to the side and keeping everything nice and square to the front of your mat. So your hips are square, you're keeping your core engaged, you're sitting back into the heel of that left foot, keeping your shoulders relaxed, making sure you're breathing, guys. You'll probably be able to feel this already, keeping everything lengthened up as you come up to standing, drawing up out of that foot, that supporting foot, and staying here. Let's switch sides, bringing the left foot out and coming out. And we're going to really find that weight into that right supporting foot, and you are repeating the same thing that we did on the other side. So you're really drawing up, lengthening up with the arms and drawing up from that heel all the way up to the top of the head as you come up to standing. Bringing the leg in and bringing the leg back out. So trying to keep your hips nice and square. We're keeping the core engaged. Our shoulders are relaxed. We are working into that right glute here and also all of the hips, the thighs, the inner thighs, everything's working here. So this is a full body workout. We're here to get results. We are strengthening, we're toning, we're doing all the good things. Awesome. Staying here. Let's come down into a full squat here. And then as you inhale, bringing the arms up overhead and then starting to lift the right knee up, coming back through center. And then you're lifting the left knee up, coming back through center. So then we're starting to drop down into that left side. So your left knee is bending down, sitting back into that heel, then you're lifting the knee up and then dropping it back down to the side. So we're keeping the right leg quite straight here. You can have a soft bend into that right leg though, into the knee, or just really straightening it out, just not locking into the joints though, just making sure you've got that little micro bend there into that right leg. We're starting to really sit back into the heel on the left side, so we are squeezing it up using your core to lift the knee up towards the chest. Let's switch it over to the other side, so the right knee lifts this time. Keeping your balance here. If you're struggling with that, maybe finding a place to keep your eyes on that's still, or you can bring your hands to your waist. Otherwise you can have your hands in prayer, shoulders are relaxed, core is engaged, using your core to draw the knee in and then dropping the foot down as you sit back into that right heel. We are working through all of the muscles of the body. Beautiful work. Staying here. Let's come down, bringing the forearms down onto the top of the legs, and then you're releasing down into a forward fold, letting it go. Taking a nice deep breath in here and out. You might grab hold of somewhere on the outside of the legs with the hands, bending generously through the knees and then lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. And then bending the knees again and then lifting the hips up as you lengthen through the back of the legs. Allowing the head to be nice and relaxed here. Elbows can come out wide. Maybe you might move a little bit through the head and neck, letting the tummy muscles relax. It's taking a beautiful stretch here. Coming back up to standing, rolling the shoulders up and releasing the shoulders down. Starting to lift the right knee up, and we're bringing the knee all the way out to the side and then dropping the foot down. So starting to lengthen up, opening out, dropping down to kind of a tree position, and then bringing that leg back up and to the front again. So you can bring the arms into this as well if you're feeling quite balanced here, or you can just have your hands onto the hips. Otherwise, we are making a little prayer position as we bring the foot down, the heart, and then we are opening the leg out, the hip out to the side, and allowing the arms to open out, and then bringing the arms down. So just using your core, imagine you're using the core, drawing up from the pelvic floor all the way up, zipping up to the top of the head, using your core muscles to lift the knee. It doesn't have to be a big lift. It can be just working at whatever range is good for you today. And then we're coming to the other side. Let's bring the left knee up, and we are opening the hip out, dropping the foot down, and then drawing back up and bringing it through center. Keeping this going, just keeping your pelvis in a neutral so that you're not popping the tailbone out and you aren't tucking the tailbone under either. You've got a little slight curve into the low back, so you have just got a nice neutral of the pelvis. Using your core to draw the knee up and opening out. So it's a movement through the hip here on that left side. The right leg is nice and still here, and we're not rocking around. We are keeping that supporting foot just balanced through that right side, and bringing the arms up and bringing the knee forward, dropping the knee back down. Shoulders relaxing, keeping nice and still, and then we are going to come to the end of the mat here and taking a moment here to find balance through both sides of the feet. We're sweeping the arms up as you come up high onto the balls of the feet, and then you're sitting down into a chair position. So bringing the arms all the way forward, lengthening as you sit down into your chair, and then inhale as you start to come up high onto the toes, lengthening, and then sitting back into your chair. Keeping this going, we are really finding that drawing up of the pelvic floor all the way up, so using those core muscles to draw up towards the ceiling with the arms, and then sitting back into the heels, lifting the toes up slightly as you sit down into your chair positions. Arms come forward, palms facing inward, lengthening into the back of the neck, sitting the pelvis down. Staying here, starting to walk the hands forward, coming to a plank position, dropping the knees down, and then bending through the elbows, lowering the heart down, pressing up to cobra, and then drawing back, coming to a child's pose, shifting the hips, and then lifting the hips up, dropping the heels down, downward facing dog. Inhale, coming back to your plank, lowering the knees and lowering all the way down. Elbows go straight back, cobra, rolling back to your child's pose, and then tucking the toes, lifting the hips, downward facing dog. We are just moving with this, so flowing from your plank position, either a high plank or dropping those knees, coming to a low plank. You are coming to your cobra and then coming back to your downward facing dog. So just keeping everything really strong here the whole time, guys. Elbows are in close to the body. You are just letting those elbows go straight back. You are making sure you're not locking into the elbow joints. So keeping a nice openness through the back body, and your core is engaged the whole time. Don't let that engagement of core go. Keeping it going. Really drawing the navel to spine to bring you back up, dropping the heels, finding length through the back of the legs as you come to your down dog, and then staying here as you walk the hands back towards the feet, coming to a forward fold at the end of your mat. And then you're starting to inhale, walking the hands all the way forward, coming back to plank, dropping the knees if you like, or staying high, and you're dropping down into your cobra, coming back to plank, and then coming to down dog, walking the hands all the way back and forward fold at the end of your mat. Inhale, starting to come forward, walking forward, plank. Dropping those knees if you like, or staying high. Elbows go straight back as you lower down and coming back through plank, and then lifting the hips, dropping the heels, down dog, walking the hands all the way back to your forward fold at the end of the mat. Keeping this going, guys, keeping everything strong here. If you're in your high plank, making sure you're pressing the heels to the back of the mat, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. We are working through every single muscle. The core is really having to stay strong here to keep us nice and still and stable through the pelvis. So making sure you're not rocking around in the pelvis as you walk the hands forward and back. You're keeping the navel to spine. You are keeping everything in one nice long piece. So it's like your whole body is working through this. There isn't one muscle not getting a workout today. This is an amazing workout for your whole body. Staying here, guys, and we are starting to shift the pelvis back, coming to a child's pose. So bringing the big toes together, knees out wide, arms come forward as the forehead comes down onto the mat. Letting the tummy muscles release down, allowing heaviness through the pelvis. And then just starting to look up towards the hands and coming to your tabletop position. We want the knees to be in line with the hips and the shoulders to be in line with the wrists. You've got length through the back of the neck as well as the rest of the back. Starting to reach the right arm forward and the left leg goes back, and then bringing the knee to the elbow. So we are bending through the knee and the elbow and really keeping that core engagement the whole time, just shifting out. And then we're going to open out to the side, coming back through center, and then knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale as you draw it in. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, open it out. Inhale, back through center, and exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, lengthening out. Exhale, knee to elbow. Keeping this going, guys, and making sure that you've got length here, and you are just gazing slightly forward of the hands so you aren't bringing the head up or down. You're keeping that head and neck in that same line as the rest of the back. Let's go to the other side. Inhale as you lengthen the left arm and the right leg. Knee to elbow, draw it in. Inhale, lengthening out. Exhale, knee to elbow, core is engaged. And then we're opening it out to the side and coming back through center and keeping it going. It's keeping everything nice and strong here. This is awesome for the core. It is awesome for the whole body. You're having to really use that stability through the arms as well, keeping your balance central through the both sides here. Even though you have one arm lifted and the other leg lifted, trying to keep everything nice and balanced through that center line. Awesome. Coming back through center to your tabletop position. We're starting to tuck the tailbone and sit back towards the heels, and then you are shifting forward, coming to a neutral spine, and then you're rounding back, sitting back towards the heels. So it's kind of a little bit of a sort of circular motion here. We are tucking the tailbone and keeping that tuck as you sit back towards the heels, and then you are starting to come to a neutral, so a flat back as you bend through the elbows and you come back through center, and then rounding back again, sitting back. So it's beautiful stretch for the lower back, particularly here, making sure you're not locking into those elbows. So you've got a little micro bend into your elbows, and then dropping down onto the forearms and keeping a nice neutral pelvis here. Gazing slightly forward so that you're keeping length through the back of the neck and your balance through both sides of the body here. Keeping that core engagement and pressing the shoulders down towards the mat. We're bringing the left leg back and we're starting to make a little kick up. So it's a very small little pulse up and down, keeping the foot in a neutral so you don't have a flex of the foot and you're not pointing the toes. You're keeping a nice neutral here, and then you're lowering the knee down and then pressing back up to your starting position. Keeping the hips nice and square to the mat. You are keeping that core engagement the whole time. You are using using your glute muscle on that left side, and also the core is helping you to lift that leg up and lower it back down. So keeping that nice length here. Now staying up with the leg, we're just making little pulses, tiny pulses at the top range here, and really working into the hamstring, the glute, that smile line underneath the booty, and coming back through center, coming back to your tabletop position, finding that balance. We're just starting to lift the left knee up. So it's kind of a little lift of the knee and lower it down and lifting it back up, keeping your balance through both sides of the hands, through that both sides of the hips, even though we are bringing one leg up, seeing if you can keep everything nice and central here. You're working through that outer hip on the left side and the outer thigh. Awesome. This time we are starting to straighten the leg out when you bring the knee up and then dropping it back down and lowering down. Keep this going. Breathing, guys, keeping length through the back of the neck, not locking out here into the elbow joint. Keeping nice and strong and stable, nice tabletop position here. Press it out, bring it back in, releasing, well done. Awesome. Coming down onto the forearms, elbows are in line with the shoulders, keeping that pelvis in a neutral. We're bringing the right foot up this time. Starting to lift, little pulses up and down with that right leg. So really bringing your mind to the glutes on that right side, the smile line underneath the booty, keeping your belly button to spine. Now let's lower the knee down, press it back up, lowering the knee down and press it back up. Keeping that pelvis neutral, keeping your belly button pressing to the spine, lifting up out of the shoulders. You're pressing the shoulders down toward the mat, keeping a beautiful length through the back of the neck. Press it up, lower it down, breathing. Awesome work. Staying up, guys, and little pulses up and down, tiny little pulses. You can do it. Doing so amazing. And then release. Coming up to the hands, to tabletop, we're starting to open that right knee up to the side and lower it down with control. Keeping this going, keeping the pelvis in that neutral, core is engaged. It's just a lift up and a lower down, really working into the hip here, the inner thighs, the outer thighs. Next time the knee comes up, we are bringing the leg out and then bending and lowering it back down. Keep it going, guys. Keep everything nice and still. Keep length through the back of the neck. Nearly done. So staying strong. Keep it going. We're going to take an awesome stretch soon. So seeing if you can finish the most challenging part with control. Awesome. Releasing. Starting to sit back towards the heels. Any movement that feels good into the spine. Maybe some cat-cow. Maybe you drop down onto the forearms. Giving the wrists a little break. Maybe you're coming to a child's pose. Just finding what feels good here. And then coming all the way down onto your back. We're starting to bring the right knee in towards the right shoulder as you lengthen the left leg long, or if it feels a little bit too intense of a stretch with that left leg long, you can have the foot on the mat and bending through the knee. We're starting to take a deep breath in as you use your arm strength to draw that right knee in. And as you exhale out, just allowing some softness into that hip. Maybe moving through the foot a little bit, the toes, and then switching over to the other side. So you're bringing your left knee in, moving through the foot, and starting to either have that right leg lengthened or you can have the right foot on the mat. Just letting that right leg relax, using your arm strength to really pull the knee in. And relaxing the tummy muscles and releasing. Awesome. Bringing the arms behind the head. So just up above the head, or you can have the arms out to the sides. We're lengthening the legs up towards the ceiling, heels together, toes slightly turned out. We're doing some leg lowers here. So it's just a very, very small movement, lowering the legs down and then drawing back in. So using your core muscles to really move this. We want to have the tailbone lengthened down towards the end of the mat. So you're not lifting the tailbone up. You're keeping your core engaged. Your ribs are closed. You've got the legs together. You can lower it down a little bit lower if you've got a really, really strong connection with your core at the moment. Otherwise, just making this a very small movement. Awesome. And then we're starting to bring the right foot down onto the mat, keeping the left leg lengthened. Starting to circle around. So it's just a very small circle. You're going inward, coming around, and then all the way, a little circle right the way around. So we're working through the hip on that left side, trying to keep everything else still. So you can have your arms down by your sides and kind of just pressing the palms down into the earth to find a little bit more stability, but having the arms up overhead just makes this a little bit more challenging. Just making sure that you do have your ribs closed, you're keeping your belly button to spine, and then circling back the other way when you're ready. We're working just through that hip. So imagine that all the movement is coming from that left hip. Everything else is staying nice and strong here, staying still, and you are breathing. So just making sure you're finding your breath, inhaling, exhaling. So good. If you want to make this more challenging, you can extend that right leg as well. So just letting the right leg relax down onto the mat. Now we're just bringing the knee in towards the chest and then lengthening the leg out and then lifting it back up and bending through the knee and pressing it back out. So it is kind of a circular motion here. Your leg is lifted the whole time off of the mat. You're sliding forward, lengthening up and drawing it. And using your core muscles, so those low abs are really drawing the knee in towards the chest. And they are also having to really stay strong to allow stability as the leg goes long. And then we are reversing this. So you're starting to lower the leg down as you extend it and then bringing the knee in towards the chest and then lengthening the leg back out again as you lower it down. And keeping this going. And again, if it's too much to have the arms up overhead, you can bring your arms down by your sides, palms facing down, or maybe bringing the arms out into a T shape. Just making sure you're not rocking around in the pelvis. You're using your core muscles to draw the knee in. You're lengthening the leg. We are getting long, lean muscle here. And then we're coming to the other side, guys. So just starting to bring the right leg up and you're making those circles through the hip. So it is just a little circle coming out and around and then back out again. So your toes are slightly turned out, heel is slightly turned in, and you've got a little kind of outward rotation of that hip. You are using your core muscles to stabilize, so keeping the pelvis in a neutral. The ribs are closed. If you need to, you can bring your arms down by your sides for some stability, and then keep this going, circling around. Just a little circle here, and then we're starting to reverse, going back the other way when you're ready. Drawing the leg in and coming out and back around. Awesome. You can have that little slight micro bend into the knee if you need to here. It's no problem. Most important thing is we are using the core muscles to stay stable. We are keeping everything still. The pelvis is in that neutral. We want to be working through the hip on that right side. Awesome. This time bringing the knee in towards the chest, you're lengthening the leg out, so sliding out and then lengthening up and then coming back through center as you drop that knee in towards the chest. You're using your core muscles, guys, to keep this movement going. So it is all through the core, even though the leg is moving. We're finding even more length each time. You're lengthening the leg long, finding long, lean muscle, and you are then drawing it in using those low abs and the whole core muscles to draw it in. Let's reverse it, going all the way back the other way. So bringing the knee in, lengthening up towards the ceiling, lowering down down with control, and then bending the knee, drawing it in again, and keep it going. Breathing, inhale, lengthening, exhale, draw it in, making sure you're not holding your breath. We are really coming to the end of our workout, so really giving it your all. If you've been giving it 90%, let's go even more, guys. There's not long to go. You're doing great. Awesome. And release. Bringing your arms down by your sides, bringing both feet onto the mat. Starting to let the shoulders be away from the ears. You're finding a neutral pelvis, navel to spine, and then letting both legs come up towards the ceiling. Just finding the hands slightly underneath the pelvis. You're lengthening the tailbone down towards the end of the mat. Maybe a bit of movement into the feet here, into the toes. And then you're bringing the legs out to the side, and then you're closing the legs back up. So it's kind of a split position, and then drawing, using the inner thighs to sort of magnet back inward toward each other. So we are working through the inner thighs. We are working through the outer thighs, the outer hips. Next time the legs come out, you are dropping the right heel, then lengthen the leg, and then dropping the left heel, lengthen the leg, and then closing back in. Keeping this going. So we're just alternating through one side, bending one knee, lengthening it out, then bending the other, lengthening it out, and then drawing back in. Now dropping the knees down towards the chest, and we're lengthening the legs up, opening the legs out, and then bending the knees as you bring the back of the heels down towards the pelvis. Keeping this going, so we are really allowing a little bend through the knees as we let the back of the heels come to the pelvis, and then you're lengthening the legs up long and opening out to the sides, and keeping that length of the tailbone down, keeping your core engaged, navel to spine, shoulders away from the ears, really squeezing into those inner thighs to draw the legs inward and bringing the feet together, and then dropping the heels down, bending the knees, keeping it going, breathing, using your breath. We are getting closer to the end of our workout. You're doing so amazing, you guys, and release it, bringing the knees down towards the chest, letting the back of the heels relax to the pelvis, wrapping the hands around the front side of the knees, maybe finding a little rock from side to side here, anything that feels good, relaxing the feet. Then you might take hold of the front of the knees and just starting to straighten the arms as you let the feet kind of shift forward to the front of the mat, and then starting to open the knees out as you draw the knees in towards the chest, bringing the knees out and around, sort of circling through the knees here, through the hips. So we're really working through those hips, circling one way and then going back the other way. So starting to bring the knees out, in, around, and then coming forward again as you straighten through the arms. Letting the tummy muscles relax, the back of the shoulders relaxing, back of the neck, back of the head, jaw. Letting everything start to unwind, finding a little massage into the low back, top of the tailbone as you feel that little kind of rolling sensation over the mat with this. Anything that feels good here, guys. You might even just start to sort of hold on to the knees and just circle in one direction with those knees together, and then circling back the other way, finding a massage into the gut, into the internal organs, and really allowing a little release here. Awesome. And then when you're ready, just starting to come to a little twist. So we're starting to drop the knees over to the left side and just starting to gaze over towards the right shoulder. Maybe you might bring the arms out into a T shape, letting the back of the shoulders relax, allowing the jaw to relax, the hips relaxing, pelvis heavy. Just letting everything go. It's been so nice to do this workout with you today. If you enjoyed today's workout and you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, encourage you to do so that you can receive free home workouts twice a week, every Wednesday and Friday here on the channel. And also just checking out any of the other yoga Pilates workouts here on the channel too. You can come to the other side when you're ready. So just bringing the knees up and over to the right side. Gaze goes over towards the left. Starting to bring the arms out wide if it feels good. Breathing deeply here into the side waist. Just starting to let everything go. Letting everything relax down. You can stay here for as long as you like. Maybe you might come to a Shavasana. Just come to lay on your back and just kind of take some time out for yourself before going about the rest of your day. Or you might just start to bring the knees in and just starting to bring the hands between the legs and just wrapping the hands to the outside of the feet. Kind of a variation of happy baby, letting the knees fall to about shoulder width, lengthening the pelvis down, using your core muscles to rock and roll. So just bringing the chin to chest as you make a little rolling like a ball. Seeing if you can use your core rather than momentum so much as we get a little massage here into the spine. Just rolling back and rolling back up again. This should feel really nice for your spine. Can't wait to see you again, guys. Have the best day. Namaste.